Hello friends and welcome. Now that all of the patterns and tutorials are available for the Fantasy Armor full suit, I wanted to go over some additional tips for when you go to put everything together. Each piece of this set already has its own pattern and in-depth tutorial, which will be linked below. Each tutorial showed slightly different techniques and colors, so in preparation for this video I wanted to make it a little more cohesive. So I remade a couple of the components to match the other red and black pieces and tied everything together with some antiquing. It's not a perfect match, but this isn't a suit that I'm making for sale. It's to show others how to build the suit with a variety of options. Every pattern in this series has two visual style options. The first is the principal fantasy style featured in most of the pics, but there's also a second style which offers a different cut of the pieces to make the design much more smooth. This second design may be ideal for your combat group, or even if you're going for a less vicious looking character. Most of the patterns in this series are offered as scalable compiled layouts. Some patterns are simply too big to fit on a single page, so while the designs are highly adjustable and will fit most, there will be some who will need to scale the patterns for best fit. This will add a step for some, but it's better than being bummed out when a pattern won't fit. I opted for this route over cookie cutter sizes so it can fit everyone of all sizes, even children. When you have your patterns printed, I highly suggest making a rough paper mock-up just for the sake of confirming fit. The suit overall is very adjustable as designed, but it's still a good idea to make sure it's in the right ballpark and scale it up or down as needed. While you are free to use other mediums like foam, this module is focused on leather armor crafting, so to that end you will of course need leather. The kind of leather you need for this project is mostly vegetable tanned leather. Sometimes this is referred to as tooling leather, and often used in other types of leatherwork like holsters, belts, saddles, and more. This type of leather comes in a variety of thicknesses and is produced in a way that gives it rigidity. This series kind of assumes you already know what this leather medium is about, and going over the full gamut of leather will have its own video that will come later, but the important thing for this fantasy series is to get some good firm leather. I tend to recommend from 9 to 10 ounce as a good all-around thickness. You can go for a lighter weight down to like 7 ounce, but the trade-off is firmness and shape retaining capabilities as well as the depth of tooling. You can go up to 12 ounce weight or even more if you really need it, like for combat or reenactment, but realistically, my designs have a lot of overlapping layers throughout, so it's generally overkill. As for cutting, tooling, decorating, coloring, and finishing the pieces, the best thing to do is to watch all of the tutorial videos as each video deliberately goes into a variety of different techniques. These patterns can create products that can fetch a respectable price. For information regarding commercial use, please see the terms outlined on the Academy area of the site. If you are intending to produce any kind of quantity, I would recommend reaching out to me directly through my website. One more thing to note about this set, female cosplayers and LARPers can enjoy all of these designs as well, and customize the designs to suit their preferred look. The bracers. Now I would like to briefly go over the additional tips for each component in this suit. You can always pick and choose which parts you want to make, but assuming you do eventually want to craft the full suit in this theme, you can find all of the tutorials on the YouTube channel. And I would generally suggest watching all of the videos in the order they were uploaded with one exception. I would suggest most newcomers start with the bracers. This is the easiest project to make, and it's also a good standalone piece, meaning it is designed as a lighter alternative to some of the more complex pieces. So instead of gauntlets and full arms, you could just wear the bracers. Or if you want a small leather addition to an otherwise all-fabric costume or garb, bracers are a great addition there. And even though they don't connect directly with the full suit, they are still worth making, especially since you can get a little practice and plan out your tooling and decoration theme on the bracers first before starting on the bigger and more time-consuming projects. The helmet. The first tutorial I made in this series was the helmet, and it's also a great first project to attempt. It may look complex, but the assembly and crafting is actually pretty straightforward and comprised of small and simple pieces. And the faceplate has a big canvas area that you can modify easily with your own artistic flair as well. This is a great feel-good type of project that is a high-impact addition to your armor, and it looks great as a decor piece and something that is just fun to own, especially if it's by the fruits of your own labor. The Spaulders. The Spaulders cover the shoulders and upper arms. You can either craft it as a standalone piece as demonstrated in the initial tutorial, or it can be made as a variation to go with the breastplate as demonstrated in the recent tutorial. One other possibility for attaching the shoulder pieces is to use a laced method like this, where you can make a soft leather tab to connect to the breastplate, and then make holes in the Spaulders and tie it off. And don't forget you can add a strap to the lower section to help keep things in place as needed. The breastplate. The breastplate in this armor is a segmented cuirass with suspended torso plates. This feature allows for bending and twisting of the torso, and it's a very comfortable design for a chest harness. This pattern also calls for some hand forming of the leather to achieve a domed shape for the chest. The side panels are also adjustable for all different sizes. And if you find the torso too long, you can simply omit the bottom plate to shorten the torso. I'll also have a video demonstrating this distressing effect coming soon. The gorget is worn at the neck and is meant to be worn under the breastplate. The main tip I have for this piece is make sure to test fit it on your neck and shoulders before joining the two halves, because every body is different and this piece can be uncomfortable if not fit properly. Female breastplate. The female variation of the breastplate is for those who want their torso armor to have a more feminine flair. It also has a number of possible configurations for those who desire something a bit more revealing to varying degrees. For example, the default full configuration is of a similar function to the base breastplate, but it has an altered shape at the waist to accentuate the female figure, and it has a slightly pronounced breast but still covers the entire torso. Another option is to omit various sections of the top panel as seen in this student's design, and you can also remove the lower pieces as well for a much more revealing design such as this. Which configuration do you think is best? Let me know in the comments. The tassets cover the thigh region, and they're a nice addition to the breastplate. I don't have much to add beyond what was in the original video. Just remember there's a number of different options for how you can make them and how you can position them. Just experiment and see what looks best to you. Scale armor. The scale armor pattern is a supplemental piece to help you fill in the growing area on the suit. It is made from individually cut leather scales mounted to a supple leather backing. You can also experiment with expanding the patterns to try out other looks. Arm assembly. The arms for this set are articulated at the elbow. One tip I think I mentioned previously but didn't demonstrate directly is that having a supple strap spanning the inside of the elbow is a good addition for this piece. This will help center the piece at your elbow joint and function more with comfort. Also note if you feel that the fit is a little bit too long, you can trim from the top or the bottom to improve comfort. Gauntlets. The gauntlets that go with this set can be worn with or without gloves. They're a bit more complex than some of the other pieces thanks to all the small finger parts, and you need to use a couple different types and thicknesses of leather to make it work well, but the extra effort is well worth it. Cuisses. The leg assembly consists of the greaves for the lower legs and the cuisses and knee cops for the upper legs. Both parts are able to be worn on their own if desired or merged into one piece. The main tip here is getting the scale right. Make sure when you make a mock-up that the knee is lined up with your knee and the bottom of the greave rests comfortably on your feet or sabatons. The designs are also easy to add or remove width from the side panels to accommodate a variety of leg sizes. Sabatons. When you're crafting the sabatons, you'll want to test fit them with the shoes or boots you plan to wear. I generally suggest some sort of comfortable boots when equipping your armor, but you can also use other footwear. And as with many pieces, make sure you do a mock-up first. These components will really benefit from a tight fit with whatever footwear you plan to use. Student projects. Next, we'll move on to some of the student projects that have been made so far so you can get some other ideas and options. These are some of the submissions taken from the Prince Armory Discord channel, and I've seen many more posted on social media. The link to our Discord is in the description below if you'd like to post some of your pictures in the future. We'd be glad to have you. Now that most of the components are ready, let me tell you about the digital apprenticeship that I am offering because it's a little different than other things that are out there. The patterns and tutorials that were created so far are part of one module that is the first of many. So what this means is that the Fantasy Armor series is but one slice of the puzzle, and other modules will continue to push into the more detailed arena of techniques and design, as well as fleshing out basic content that will help first-time leatherworkers learn and grow as well. The Fantasy Armor bundle is one such module that is now officially available. This will include all of the patterns and will have new premium tutorials added soon beyond the hours of tutorial content already available. Also, over time and depending on the popularity of this bundle, I will continue to create additional patterns and tutorials in this series, such as pouches, quivers, sheaths, shields, just to name a few, and I'll try to keep fleshing out the theme. I already have some additional premium tutorial content in progress now that will be added to this bundle as a bonus. And any new patterns in this theme that are created and added later will automatically be available for anyone who purchased this bundle. Just one more thing, I really and truly want to thank everyone for supporting these videos and patterns. When I started the Prince Armory Academy, the goal was to provide an in-depth training experience comparable to one of my own apprenticeships, and not just a pattern market. This is only the starting point, so I hope you'll subscribe and follow along with future content, and like and share it with your friends who might be interested along the way. I really hope you'll be inspired to take the plunge into this rewarding craft. Thanks again for coming along with me on this journey. I hope to see you soon.